Deployments. Some people join the military just because they wanted to deploy. And I wouldn't say that that's why I did it, but that's what we're here to talk about today is deployments. Joining us here on the Why Not podcast, we've got a fresh new sea of faces. So let's go ahead, start at the other end of the table. Introduce yourself, tell us your name and where you're joining us from.
I'm Senior Airman Robinson, Nathan Robinson. I'm joining you from Minot, North Dakota.
Or your unit.
I'm originally from my unit.
Yeah, which unit?
69th BGS. I'm an aircraft maintainer for avionics.
Right on. Ma'am?
Hi, I'm Master Sergeant Christine Choop. I'm joining you from the 891st Missile Security Forces Squadron as their first sergeant.
I'm Staff Sergeant Koch. I'm coming as well from the 69th BGS as a crew chief.
Crew chief. Okay, so we've got a good team here. We've got a few. Now, maybe people would say that it's maintenance is maintenance, but we all know a little bit better than that, don't we? So, want to talk about what's generally everybody's deployment experience. Like, how many deployments do you have under your belts if you're at this table?
I've got 3 overseas.
Okay.
So I got various TDYs that could count as a deployment. I got 3 overseas, 1 as a first sergeant, 1 as a ISR tactical controller with Special Forces, and then another one as an imagery analyst with Special Forces.
Gotcha.
I have 2. One was technically a TDY, and then the other one was a deployment. So both overseas. Yeah.
Both overseas. Yeah, I did a TDY that extended past that window and technically became a deployment, and then did a 6-month, and it took all the way to being here at Minot until it finally happened for me. That was almost 10 years into my career before I finally deployed.
I cross-trained from aircrew flight equipment back in the day to deploy. I think I deployed or went on a 3-month TDY within the first year of my new career field as an imagery analyst. So completely wanted to deploy, but it took a little bit as well.
Yeah, I think that's people talked about, hey, deployments are available. You'll deploy, like it's a big deal. It'll happen. And you need to be ready at any given moment you could deploy. And so I always felt like I was pretty ready. And then 8 years went by and I was like, really? Still nothing? Okay. Why am I so ready right now? When's it going to happen? And then I finally got to my 4th duty station, and that's when I deployed. And it happened like right after I went on a bomber task force mission. So I got a little back-to-back action going with lots of deployment. That was hard. Wanted to ask, of your deployments, of things that you've gone and done, what was your best experience?
I don't know if I could pick a better experience between IED Air Base or England. I think it's like the groups you go with. So like I did kind of have the same group. Definitely interchanged people, but you just can't beat like the camaraderie and everybody you're with on that shift. It's just something different. Like the way you build, you get long days, but you're with the same people every day, like day in, day out. You just form that bond that and when you come back, it's just gonna be you're gonna see those people differently. You're gonna trust them just a little bit more than you would anybody else.
Because you're all tested, right?
Wouldn't say tested. But
so my first 2 deployments for intel, sometimes you deploy with people sometimes you don't. But I deployed as a 1-person shop, both deployments, working with people that had different schedules that may have been from my base that I just didn't know who they were. So it was hard because you're 1 person deep. But then my first sergeant deployment, I went with formerly known as 23rd AMU,
right.
But now 23rd BGS. That was cool because I got to see the maintenance side of it, because you go with everybody, the trust that you build because it's a mission. You're deployed, you're trying to get aircraft off the ground. You don't have the same EPB timelines, the same timelines, but like I got to be out on the flight line a lot and see all the airmen and joke with them. It is more like it's closer, it's more connectiveness, and you're all working towards the same thing without the distractions of family life and everything being home. So it is nice to go out with people that you know, and I've seen both sides of it.
It's true.
The camaraderie is definitely one of the biggest things, especially within maintenance. Here in Minot, doing normal training sorties day to day, it gets very redundant, and people start complaining like, "Oh, why are we doing these things? It's there's no reason to be doing things like this." And then going somewhere like IUD, and then seeing those jets with live munitions on them, getting the word that that jet's going to go up and those munitions are not coming back, and you're actually doing something like, this is what you've been working for, this is what you've been training for, what you're doing right now is what you signed up to do. And it's when those jets came back all Winchester, it was just a surreal feeling like we finally did what we're here to do.
Yeah, I always think of when you go on deployment, you're proving everything that you've been doing at your home station. You're sometimes not fully prepared. I've deployed with airmen where I realize, hey, we need to invest in getting you fully ready because your skills aren't fully there. But hey, we're here deployed, and we need to make sure that you're doing the job correctly. But hey, you know what? You deploy with the folks who you deploy with, and you got to make do with the folks you've got and the skills they have, and make sure that the whole team is capable of fulfilling the mission. Now, when you're deploying, sometimes you deploy, like we talked about the camaraderie and how good it can be, but you can also deploy with people that you don't care for. Is the nice way of saying that. How do you go in a couple of months, how do dynamics change, and what do you tell yourself so that you can continue having a good working relationship with someone who is grating on your nerves?
That's a very fair point. I have seen definitely some people they have certain traits that do get annoying, and then you're obviously with a smaller group of people, and then those traits start to come out a lot more. And I think as like we're all professionals, like at work we can like it's a professional thing at work, and I think that's home station too. I think we have a lot of people like that. But when you're overseas, like you can't say, hey, I'm gonna be mean to you, because you guys are all you've got there. So I think at work it's just professional, and then if there's somebody like outside of work, obviously you have DFAC and going to the gym, and when you have time for other stuff, they can be there, but you don't have to socialize. Like we're all, obviously, I think that then you also have people that are glue that keep those kind of people together. Like, hey, like he's just having a bad day. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I do think that's the best part of deployments is you've got people like that some people are like, oh, I'm tired of this guy. And then you have other people like, hey, he's just having a bad day. You've got glue on deployments, and those people are your big assets because they keep the whole entire team together. And that's what keeps the shift going when you're 2 months in or 4 months in. So
that's a good attitude to have. I haven't heard someone describe it as glue before, but that's pretty good. What about you, ma'am?
So, as a first sergeant, it's a little different role because I hear when they don't like each other and get along. And then room assignments, and they're like, I can't get along with this roommate. They video game all through the night. I'm trying to sleep. So it's a little bit of different dynamic when you have to teach adulting 101. But so my deployments that have been with people that I didn't know, you kind of have to be the glue pretty quickly. Uh, I deployed with MARSOC for part of one of my deployments, and I never dealt with Marines before. So every deployment had always been a joint environment. So like you hear the stereotypes of other branches, and Marines live into that. I'm watching them run to different things. It was crazy, but the camaraderie we built pretty quickly. It was amazing. Just the joking and the fun, and then they actually um redeployed back, and then I got a whole bunch of Navy people that came in afterwards, and it was phenomenal. We had to again rebuild everything. I still will never forget the one time someone dropped a Fruit Loop on the floor, and the Marine leadership was so mad. He was like, "Why are we overlooking the Fruit Loop?" To this day, like that's all I can ever remember when I see a Marine is now thinking of Fruit Loops. But like the camaraderie was there. It was great.
That's quintessential Marines. All right. And what about you? How do you deal with someone who, or how did you deal with someone on your deployment that started grating on everybody's nerves?
Some days when you just like woke up on the wrong side of the bed and you knew that you were gonna have to go into work with that person, I'd pretty much just try and avoid them at all costs. As bad as that can sound, it's just I'm here to work. I'm already in a bad mood. I don't want it to get worse.
Yeah. So controlling your own emotions, saying, "Hey, you know what? I can control what I can. I can't control this person. I can control myself.
Yep.
And so I will limit my exposure, my time with them, so that I can keep it every professional way I need to."
Yep.
Yeah, that's it can be tough when you're having to work close to somebody that it seems to be your personal kryptonite. But you know what? You find a way to work through it, right? Now, we talked a little bit about, at least you mentioned it. Your life whenever you're on deployment is pretty cyclical, right? It's kind of like the same day, just slightly different. Where you go to work, you go into the dining facility, you're going to the gym probably. I found that I got in pretty good shape when I was deployed. I felt pretty healthy during that period of time, and I was walking everywhere. So I think that's probably part of it too. But what do you think you can take back from deployments so that you get to have a few more of those benefits and get to apply them when you're back at home station? Or is it just the nature of a deployment just lends itself to that? Is there anything that you can bring back to make your life a little bit better here?
That's a really good question. I like the way you phrase that. It's pretty tough to bring that kind of environment back because then I have a spouse, so then I have to incorporate her. I do a lot of the cooking. She does a lot of the cleaning, so that's kind of like our trade-off. I enjoy to cook, but when I am deployed and I get that defect, it is like heaven because now all I have to do is clean, and when it's just me, I have one towel. It's super nice in my opinion. When I went to Qatar, I ended up losing 20 pounds.
Oh, nice.
So I don't know if that was a walking, but it was wake up, go to work, come home, and gym. Like it's just that cycle, and then it doesn't stop. And then on the weekends, our Qatar was 6 on, 1 off. So on my day off, I would go hang out with the day shift guys, and then that was my only time. Like that was a rest day. So and then I would just go see a movie. Qatar had really cheap movies. It was like $4 a movie, so I would go every Thursday and I'd go see a movie. And it was just that cycle for 2 months, and I enjoyed it. I can't get that in my not. It's just kind of something you look forward to when you do deploy. I feel like not that I don't love my wife very much, but when she is here, then it's like just more on top of everything. Like Koch said, is you just work, and that's all that's on your mind, and hanging out with the guys after.
So it's simplicity. Simplicity.
It really is, yeah.
Yeah.
That is true. Like your mind gets to just shut off, and at the end of the day, like if you're not at work, just turn it off and you get to relax, kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
So
I had the best sleep when I was deployed, which sounds crazy. Both of my first deployments, I had 2 kids, and so shout out to my husband Kyle for holding it down while I was gone.
Mm.
It was kind of nice because the routine was phenomenal. I think that's back to your question, is that's what I learned in my deployments, that I could do hard things.
Yeah.
So I was waking up 4 a.m., taking my pre-workout, going to the gym, getting ready for my 6 a.m. shift to 6 p.m., and then had a schedule for DFAC meals. It was so sustainable, and I was sleeping. I was reading a book before bedtime, doing all the things that life gets in the way of when you're here.
Mm-hmm.
So definitely happy to, and that's what I learned, is that, oh, I could do those things. Life does complicate it, spouses, family, other requirements, but then I can actually, when it's simple, I could do all of those things.
Yeah.
I would say definitely having that fixed schedule, working your 12, hitting the DFAC, going to bed, waking up, hitting the gym, have a few hours in between the gym and then going to work to just be in, whether it be double stacks in Qatar or wherever, take some time to yourself and just kind of get ready for the day. And bringing that home is like, yeah, we can, different things happen home station to where it's not going to be a set schedule like it is out the door, but doing what you can to just try and keep that same routine. You like it, it works for you.
Mm.
That's what it's kind of what you want to adopt, and feels like you better yourself.
Yeah. Now, something that I wanted to bring back personally was, like I kind of alluded to, was that I experienced some airmen not knowing how to do parts of their job. And so I had to teach them while I was out there. And whenever I went to uh, Qatar, I was working in what they call the KAOK, and that building is like, kind of worked as the headquarters for what we were doing there. But I was reaching out to all the expeditionary wings and their various PA teams, making sure that we were getting all of their work and that we were aware of what was going on. So I got to see a lot of airmen. I got to see some deficiencies, and I realized I don't want my airmen to come out from here looking like that. I want people to say, "Oh, your airmen's from Minot. Good airmen come from Minot." And I know that's true, but I want it to be true specifically because actions that I took. So when I came home, I said, "Hey, you have to know how to write a sentence with the who, what, when, where, why, and how. Like, that's just basic. You need to be able to explain what's happening." So that's how I felt like I had to help my airmen. Did you take that back and realize, hey, there's some things that you need to know whenever you go out there? How did you impart your wisdom to your airmen when you came back?
Identifying weapons. So first deployment, I was a full motion video analyst, so that's my normal job as an imagery analyst. And we were with a supported unit that they were doing a lot of strikes, so drone strikes, a lot. So if you see someone that's a terrorist, you have to be able to identify a weapon pretty quickly because it's a threat to ground forces. And that's one of the triggering things, like if someone has a weapon. If you're looking through a camera, it's not always the easiest to spot from super high up at the altitudes that they're at. So that was the one thing I brought back. Like, we need to be able to identify weapons pretty quickly. And for both the person that's carrying whatever looks like a broom potentially, we need to actually have identifying features. So that's one thing I think I definitely pushed. I think we created like slideshows so that someone could identify it quickly, but with enough information and distinguishing factors that it was a strong analysis.
Yeah.
So that was something.
You're making decisions that are life and death, or helping
Yes.
people make decisions that
hmm
are about life and death. So you have to be able to discern really quickly.
Yes, with conviction and being able to elaborate. Not that I kind of think it looks like that. No, based on the length, based on the carry, based on this is what it is. And you give actual, it's highly likely kind of scenarios because it is someone's life in their hands and someone has to make that decision.
Mhm.
So that's something we weren't seeing all the way through stateside,
Yeah.
but when you're embedded in the country, you see it firsthand.
Yeah. What about you guys? What did you bring back? Lessons that you learned that you started to share with other people?
Definitely your supplies are more scarce there, so learning to do the job with less um or having less people, being able to delegate different tasks so you work as one cohesive unit.
Yeah.
I think that builds resilience, and bringing that back is even better because having young airmen back at station,
Mhm.
you're gonna kind of give that to them. When we went to Qatar, we didn't have a lot of 3 levels. We had two, one per shift. So, but developing him was major. Like now, I look at him and all I see is the airman that I saw in Qatar, and he's like more than I could have ever been at his age and
Yeah.
or his rank. But he's like I would trust him with anything. Like I would if he texted me and I'd be right there. Just those lessons of people like being there for you too, I guess.
Yeah.
Um, but I think doing more with less. Just you don't like we only had 16 people out there for avionics.
Yeah, there's no grabbing people
There,
that are working somewhere else. You're the only people who know how to work on your aircraft,
Yep.
right? So it's just you.
Yep. So it's like, hey, like sending guys to the DFAC, be like, hey, we just grab me some tacos or something. And they're coming back and they're like, hey, I got your tacos. Let me take over for you. I got you.
Mhm.
And you're just out there and he's got your back, you got his, and it's not a lot of people, but you guys get the job done and it's great.
Yeah, bringing back that teamwork and camaraderie back home stations definitely a big thing, and kind of a callback to what I had mentioned on earlier with the like seeing your mission done firsthand
Mm.
when those the younger airmen are sitting there in a trailer during a generation for 12 hours without their phones, wondering why we're doing this. Granted, we aren't employing nuclear weapons when we're overseas, um, but it's still kind of the same concept of like what you're doing is a big deal.
Mm.
I know, kind of like older airmen, uh, putting on like senior airmen and whatnot. I know I'm guilty of it too. Like hearing the what you're doing is a big deal. Kind of just like roll your eyes, like,
Sure.
yeah, I'll just go back to turning a wrench. It's being able to see that firsthand and being able to give that information to someone asking that question and hopefully opening their eyes to see that it is a big deal.
Yeah. My dad told me the story when he was in the Air Force. He was flying on C-130s, and he was an airborne linguist during the Cold War. So he was in the back of a C-130. They were refueling an aircraft, doing something like that. And as the back was open, he had been in the military for like 4 or 5 years at that point. And he was like, wow, maybe what we do is pretty important. And it took him, it can take you that long to figure out the stuff that we're doing has a big impact. And it doesn't matter what your job is, whether or not you see the end results of what it is that you do. I mean, it is advancing our national objectives and protecting people. So if you even if you aren't deployed and you feel like I'm just here and nothing's happening, you're getting ready so that if you do have to deploy, you are going to be ready. Is there anything that you tell your airmen when they are stepping out the door now, if they're about to deploy? What's the one sentence that you give them to let them know it's going to be okay when you get over there?
That's a tough question.
Yeah,
I
sorry.
don't
Like
I don't know
just
if
do a
I could
little of your
sum it up
knowledge
in
and say it in a sentence.
if I could sum it up in one sentence. I think they have a pretty good understanding from when everybody comes back from a deployment.
Mm,
And everybody's if you didn't get to see somebody come back and this is like the first time and you're going out the door, it'd just be, it's the same thing we do now. You're just doing it somewhere else. That's how I always think about it. Um, like just have fun. Like it's the same thing. Like it's not you're not doing anything different. You're just gonna go there and do it now.
mm,
Um, just have fun. Honestly.
yeah.
Obviously give them if they're going back to a place we've been, tell them where all the good places are to go.
Yeah.
Uh, that's honestly probably my best sentences is I'm gonna tell them what I liked the most when I went there and say, hey, you gotta hit this place up when you got time.
Right.
So that like other than just doing the same thing, I'm gonna tell them where to have fun at
Mhm.
because you might only get to go once or you might go 10 times, but you're probably gonna go back to that same place.
Right.
So
I feel like it's a little different for the first sergeant role is because I mean we like when our units leave, there's just like 300 of them.
Yeah, it's a bunch.
So either we're going with them or there's another shirt going or they're just leaving. So a lot of it is, hey, if your family's here, let us know if they struggle because that's something that it's hard if we have someone with families or significant others and there should be some stuff underlying. I think it stresses families out when someone leaves if they're,
Mhm.
cooking duties and they don't have someone cooking and then those phone calls are not great phone calls.
Right.
So I've had airmen that are like, my wife's struggling, or they're struggling because their spouse is laying onto them every phone call that they call. Um, and then usually leaders or coworkers are like, hey, this person's really struggling because every time they call their spouse or they hear issues back home. So as a shirt, like we have to tell them like whatever is going on, come up on comms early and often
Mm.
so we can help your family that's here. Have key support liaisons, reach out, make sure they're supported because if their deployment is stressful, they're never going to want to go on another one. And then that family isn't going to want them to go on another one. The last ask for deployment was Iraq, and my kids had actually remembered my Iraq before. It was a couple years after, and I was like, "Hey, they're taking names for Iraq. I love to deploy." And my kids both were like devastated,
Yeah.
tears in their eyes, and I was like, "I was never like in risk of injury, but they were." I think 10 and 13 at the time. So they were old enough to remember the first one
Yeah.
and mom not being there. I was like, well, okay, someone else can take this. So families remember, but being able to support them through that, I think, is important.
Yeah. Thank you for saying that. That's absolutely something we have to make sure that we're taking care of our teammates' families too.
I mean, yeah, they pretty much nailed it on the head. Making sure people know that they're taken care of, and definitely letting, if it's somebody's first time going somewhere, letting them know where the fun spots are.
Yeah. Let's finish it up on just one funnel idea because deployments are hard. We've talked about how you're in an element. It can be simple, it can be fun, uh, but your family can be left behind, and it's gonna mean something for your home station. Like your absence means that the mission at home is still ongoing, and whether that is your family has to keep going on without you, your peers have to keep putting aircraft up in the air, but now some of their talent pool is gone. what do you guys? I mean, you mentioned taking care of family members. What kind of conversation do you have with folks when you're leaving, and to let them know, hey, it's going to be okay. This is temporary. Whether that's your friends, your family back home, or your family here with you at Minot.
That's a question a lot of people don't think about.
Mm.
Yeah, I don't know how I left the first time. I think I was really excited to go, and
Yeah.
I didn't even think about that.
Mm.
Um, but the second time I went, I kind of knew. Uh, I was also excited to go, but this time, my wife, she'll try to talk to other wives and try to set something up.
Mm.
Um, and that's one big thing about being gone. You build that camaraderie with those people,
Yeah.
and now when you come back, that it's not gone. So then you guys, uh, the first deployment was England. So after coming back, it was a summer deployment, so we still had a little bit of summer and fall left. So like we could still hang out. Once the winter hit, it's pretty tough,
Yeah.
but um, just building that relationship back home after deployments.
Mm-hmm.
And then once you go on the next one, it's going to be, I think, a little bit easier on a spouse.
Mm.
Um, just because now you're building relationships at home, and you broaden that web of connections,
Yeah.
and you create ties with other people. I know a lot of people do like nails or like hairdress on base, and now you have that. If you don't want to leave base, you really don't have to. You
Mm.
can go hang out with these people, and it's the same people that we're on deployment with, so I can talk to their husband or their wife on deployment, and then it's just like fluent communication, I think, between everybody. Like I know too, if a buddy, if we are on the deployment and somebody's like, hey, my wife's having a hard time, I can text my wife and be like, hey, what you guys want to like go bowling or go out for a drink, like
Mm.
go for a coffee, like they just need somebody to talk to right now.
Yeah.
And I think they're really understanding about that,
Mhm.
especially after your first one. And more, yeah, after, I think, was the bigger one, because then you kind of see, like, you seen how it is. But even during that first one, it's just like, hey, you think you could watch the kids for my wife really quick? Like, for
She just needs an hour.
exactly, that's what I'm
She
saying.
needs
Like,
to get away.
he just wants 12 hours of sleep. That's it.
Yeah.
Like, you guys could all hang out, watch a football game Friday night or Monday night football,
Mhm.
but you guys can watch kids, and they're just gonna sit in the living room, kind of thing. So
Yeah.
I think,
Forming community. You know,
Mhm.
that's something that absolutely has to happen, because I'm lucky that my wife is also active duty, and whenever I deployed, she understood. But if you have a civilian spouse who's never experienced this life before, it can be such a shock. Like it was really hard on my mom when my dad would deploy, and that made it hard on us because we want to make it better for our mom, but we don't know how.
Mhm.
And if she didn't have a community, like our community was in the church, if we didn't have that, then it would have been pretty hard for us. So we got to be there for each other. Was your spouse in the military, or was that not your case, Master and Shoop?
So my husband's still military.
Mm-hmm.
So it's kind of always worked out. It's been crazy dual military lifestyle.
Yeah.
I've seen some units get it really, really wrong. Actually got a phone call day after I returned, and they called my cell phone. It was formerly known as the Key Spouse Program. They're like, "Hey, we're just reaching out to see if you guys are okay." And then I was like, "I'm back. I just got back." So they were confused with a joint spouse thing, and I was like, "No, no, I'm already back. But thanks for calling after I was gone." And then the second time, AFSOC, we had a new commander, and his wife was very involved. They had it was a whole family thing when you were
Yeah.
departing, so they made sure the whole family was there. They had the chaplains, they have all the resources like they usually do, but they had one of the lieutenants holding this Polaroid camera,
Yeah.
and everyone that was leaving was taking photos with their family, and they were given the photo so that they can leave, and have a photo with their family before they left. And I thought that was such a cool touch. And then on the
Yeah.
return, it was a full family event. So we actually surprised our kids. We did not tell them. So my husband's like, "Oh, we're gonna pick up her bags," and everyone kind of knew. And so like the kids cried, and like the unit got to see that.
Yeah.
So like it was super touching. It was amazing. But I've seen it gone really wrong, where there's no
No.
support, and then I've seen it gone really well where there was support. So and at that moment, I think my commander called my husband every 2 weeks to ask if he needed anything. He goes, "I know you're active duty, but I'm still gonna call you to make sure you're good." And I was like, man, I just saw the difference.
Yeah, that's a good commander.
Yeah, it was a great one. So it was just the difference of just calling. They may not take you up on it, but just that phone call.
Yeah. Sergeant Coach, what did you tell like even if you're a single airman, sometimes you have to tell your parents like, hey, look, life's going to be different. So how did you navigate that in your career, in your life?
Definitely with going to Qatar, at least, mom was definitely stressed out. Just kind of being like, just doing the same things I'm doing normally. Yeah, I'm a little closer to people that don't like us, but I mean, it's what I signed up for. My dad was Army, so she kind of understands the whole ordeal. Just keeping in touch when I could, really, just giving her updates of what I can say. Just trying to keep that stress level as far down as I can.
Yeah. It's I mean it's hard. Yeah, I guess we all had most of us at least had families that were somewhat understanding and kind of knew what was going on, but it doesn't make it easier. It just makes it more familiar, right? So um yeah, deployments can be hard. I remember going on the BTF, and that was the first time away from my two small children and my wife for that period of time. And there were some times where I was sitting, I mean, I'm in Guam and it's beautiful, and I've got tears in my eyes because of how much I miss my kids. And that made the 6 month deployment actually a little bit more palatable. I could handle that separation a little bit better because I had experienced it before. And we haven't even talked about how there's all these different deployment locations and each one has all their nuances. And if we went down the rabbit hole of like explaining this is where you should go and here's how to make your life better, you won't understand until you go through it. So if you are deploying, don't be scared. If you are not deploying for a long time, don't worry, your time will come and it'll all work out and it'll be okay. I want to say thank you all for taking the time to talk about this. We could have talked about a few things, but I think keying in on family and support systems and how to take care of people is probably the most important thing. So thank you all for bringing that up. And well, I really hope we get to see you in the next one. Thank you for your time.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you.